Hi everyone, I'm just going to show you how to analyse your results from your questionnaire once you've got your responses. So to help you understand this, what I've done is I've done a very basic questionnaire with a few questions in about a new breakfast bar. That'll be the product I'm advertising. So I've got the questions that are important on there, your age and gender, and then I'm asking questions about whether or not people have breakfast before college, what the reasons are if they don't, if they eat a breakfast bar, what would make them want to eat a breakfast bar, then something about the advert, and then finally at the bottom, people's hobbies and interests. So as an example, I've just filled these responses in randomly, and if you click on this here, you can see the number 5 people have responded. So let's have a quick look on this. You can see here then what Google's done is it's automatically made graphs and pie charts about your results. So in this example questionnaire, you can see that the majority of people who've answered are 16 and 17. You can also see that the majority of people who've answered are female, and we've got one male who's answered there, 25% of 5 people in total. Now we're seeing here then that 60% of people don't eat breakfast, and they've given reasons there, and what they're saying really is they're just not hungry or they've just got not enough time. However, people are then saying, so 60% of these people are saying that yes, they would eat a breakfast bar for breakfast, and what would make them eat a breakfast bar is the fact that it's healthy, so 40% have said that. Finally, coming to the bottom here, you can see that what would draw their attention to an advert for a breakfast bar, so persuade them to buy it. You've got there 100%, so everybody who answered said that it would be the image of the product. And you've also got there that a use of bright colours and also creative modern fonts would also help them to persuade them to buy it. And then just a few about hobbies and interests. We've got an idea of who his audience is. We've got this audience interested in film and TV, gaming, playing tennis, social media and gaming again, and also socialising with friends. So very typical hobbies and interests of this age group. Okay. Right, so go back to the top then. What you've also got here is view responses and sheets. Now this is going to bring up a Google spreadsheet. The first time you open it, it is going to say create a new sheet, and you're going to say yes. And what we've got here then is we've got the breakdown of information. So we can actually see, based on the ages and the genders, what people's responses were. So what's interesting from this then here, if we look at the females just for a second. Okay, so 3 females have answered, and they are saying that no, they don't eat breakfast, or sometimes, or no. Now, that's what we call identifying a pattern, and this is something that we can talk about when we go into our presentation to start analysing our data. We could also look as well, would you eat a breakfast bar for breakfast? So we've got there what the females are saying. Maybe, and 2 yeses. So that's interesting. That's saying to me that even though the majority of females don't eat breakfast, they're actually open to having a breakfast bar. And again, we can see that 2 of the responses are that it's healthy. Okay, right, so let's go to how we analyse this data then. So on the next couple of slides in the presentation are examples of well, first of all, how to put this into your presentation, and then how we're going to analyse it. So your first step is to get your screen grabs of the different graphs. And once we've done that, we start to look at the similarities and differences in the results. So for example, on this slide, what is your age? We can see that the majority of ages are 16 and 17. And also, the majority of people who answered this were female. And of course, you're going to get more responses than my 5. Here's an example then. This is looking at what would draw you to an advert to persuade you to buy a breakfast bar. Tick as many as you like. I'm not going to go through and read what's up on screen because you can do this from the actual presentation because it's in the teacher presentation. But what I'm talking about is I'm explaining what I've seen from this information. that it's really important that in my product I include an image of the product so people know what it is they're going to buy. The next one then, this is looking at the relationship between how many people eat breakfast and whether or not they would eat a breakfast bar and the gender. So this is what I showed you before on the spreadsheet, this here. And all I've done again is just written it up in my own words. So for you then, it's important for your task 4, this loads up. There we go. This part here, so numbers 2 and 3, that's what I've just shown you how to do. Okay, and obviously number 1, you've already gone through on the slides. Hope it all makes sense, guys. Any problems, give me an email. And hopefully I'll see you soon.